How to be the boss when you're not the boss. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. Today I'm responding to a multiple, it was kind of a multi-layered comment from a video I did 2 years ago, March 4th of 2020, having to do with social anxiety and networking. And one of the comments had to do with the fact that they weren't the boss, they weren't the person in charge, and so they had difficulty taking charge. They had difficulty taking that next step. At least that's how I took the comment. And so I'm going to respond to that idea because it was a really common thing, especially early on when I would go to networking events. I represented a state representative, and I would go to networking events and find it really awkward because I wasn't in charge. I couldn't really promise anything. So where do you go from something like that? Well, you got to take it back to your position. So whatever position you're in, even if you're not the boss per se, you have to find out what you are responsible for. What is your position? Because you are the boss of something, whether you know it or not. And if you're not, you need to find out what that is. You need to find out what you're responsible for. If you're in a job, you have to outline that as best as possible. Sometimes you can get yourself into a position where they don't want to do that. They don't want you to be necessarily specifically responsible. If you're in a government position, that's a common area where people just don't want the responsibility of giving you responsibility. And this can happen in larger corporations. These are those type of situations that you should eventually, if you're craving being in charge, then you need to find either a way to work within that system, or you need to spit yourself out and you need to find your own thing. You need to go out and start something on the side. Give yourself, see, this is the funny thing, is you can make yourself boss any day you want. And you don't even have to quit your job or anything else. If you go and start a business on the side, nobody can stop you from doing that. Okay, you may have local regulations in terms of, licenses and so forth. You may have a business license that you have to fill out. You may have to register your business name. It all depends on where you're at, what country you're in. These circumstances could be easier or less easy, but in general, it's not that difficult. A business is an idea. And all you have to do is put yourself out there and say, this is what I'm doing. And poof, you've got a business. This is not a super complicated idea. So you can make yourself boss within employment. Another side thing that you can do within the employment end is look at the possibility of becoming a contractor versus a direct employee. This literally makes you, at least in America, allows you to set yourself up as a sole proprietorship. And don't listen to me in terms of taxing. Okay, go and talk to a professional in terms of the official ideas. But you can in theory set yourself up as a sole proprietorship, and therefore you are the boss of what you're doing. Now you may still be, you're providing a service and everything else, but you're doing it in a different way, and you have that autonomy to be able to say, this is what I'm about. This is what my business is about. This is what I provide or can provide to others. Okay, it's another way of declaring yourself a boss while still holding on to the security of some type of employment, so to speak. So there's a lot of different ways to go about doing this within the system, kind of within the system, and completely outside of the system, to where you can be the boss even though you currently are not the boss. You need to find what that is for you and go and try it. And don't expect that you're going to like it the first time, because you may not. You may find certain areas in there that you have no interest in being there. But you have to move on with your life, and you have to start trying out these different styles, because you'll never know until you get out there and try it. And take responsibility for your life one way or the other. I don't care if you're an employee. I don't care if you're the owner of a multi-million-dollar corporation. The main thing is to get out there, start trying, start moving along, and if you're already the boss, encourage other people to be the boss in their own life. That type of independence, that type of self-reliance is really what I'm all about. I think more and more people need to try those things out so that they at least, at the very worst case scenario, if they don't like it, they can always go back. You see, that's the thing. None of this stuff is permanent. And in the same end, you've given yourself a chance to see things through somebody else's eyes and understand that not every position is for everybody. You got to find what fits you. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to talk about some other ideas that got brought up in the comments over there on tomorrow's episode. But in the meantime, hey, go check out my book, 9 Ways to Amazon Proof Your Business. This is all about how to design a strategy, especially if you're starting from scratch. This is a great place to start. Designing a long-term strategy for how you're going to stand out. How are you going to make yourself different from the behemoths out there that are already running things? Okay, how are you going to make yourself different? There's ways to do it. I talk about it in this book, 9 Ways to Amazon Proof Your Business. You go get yourself a hardback copy, or you can download a free copy at amazonproofbook.com. That's all we got for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen.